Okay, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakakwadash, double honors to Apostle Great Millstone, and shout out to all the Akim pushing out this word into sincerity. Alright, so I'm going to make another video on the RFID chip, which is also known as the Mark of the Beast. Alright, so I got a few articles lined up and some precepts as well. Let's just get right into it. So this article says people are using tech implants to turn their limbs into Bitcoin wallets. Alright, so it says those currently trading and following cryptocurrencies can arguably be called early adopters, but some are taking this further than others. A recent CoinDesk article delves deeply into one of the more extreme trends, getting microchip implants that can be programmed to act as a cryptocurrency wallet. It says body hacking is not a new phenomenon. Those who are interested in the prospects of type of body hacking can watch this video to follow CoinDesk editor Bailey Redzool as she receives an RFID chip implant in order to be able to use her hand as a Bitcoin wallet. However, this is perhaps not as cutting edge technology as one might first believe. In fact, Marcin Wismajer, colloquially called Mr. Bitcoin, received a microchip implant as far back as 2014. Moreover, this trend extends far beyond the cryptocurrency community, and those pushing for technological implants are part of the so-called transhumanist movement. Spectacularly, these people are effectively seeking to augment themselves with implants, technically making them a real-life cyborg, albeit a far cry from the cyborg imagined in sci-fi. This technology can be used for anything from implanting NFC keys in order to give the bearer the ability to unlock NFC-enabled doors, machines, or devices with the wave of a hand, and the aforementioned alternative of implanting a cryptocurrency wallet inside the bearer. Alright, so the video that this article is referring to, I watched a little bit of it, and it shows a part right here how this person in question is using the RFID microchip as a means to hold her money. And so I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip.
And in a week or so, VivoKey will be launching a new API that will allow users to program the chip to act as an authenticator key. With this, I should be able to request that every time I want to send or transfer Bitcoin out of an open source wallet, it'll ask me to scan the chip to validate that transaction. And that way, the chip will act as a unique security measure that might make my hand as valuable as Clean Eyes and Minority Report. But seriously.
Alright, so that's enough of that. Ultimately, the main reason that the RFID chip is being used as this, as a means to hold your money. Right now it's Bitcoin, but pretty much all money is going to be on a blockchain, technology, and then everybody's going to be required to implement that RFID microchip, and it's the only way to eat, the only way to go through doors, to drive a car. You're going to need that RFID microchip, and it's, in the scriptures, obviously speak against that, because if you've been watching the videos I've been making. I bring out the same precepts about this topic. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out the precept, Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, because it's going to come a time during Jacob's trouble where there's going to be some crazy calamities going on outside. And pretty much one of the only ways to escape these calamities, escape hunger, is to bow down and get this chip from the Red Hebrew Edomite. So that's one thing, because right now we're in the grace period. We're getting ready to be, we have to prepare ourselves for Jacob's trouble. And here's a precept that goes along to what I was thinking about, because when we're going to be going through Jacob's trouble, there's going to be times where we're going to be hungry. There's going to be times where we're going to find food, and there's going to be times where we don't have that food that we found, or there's going to be some troops coming left and right, and there's going to be times where you're going to be dealing with the spirits out there, and so ultimately you have to pretty much just don't take that chip, don't fall into temptation. So I'm going to go ahead and read this precept. This is Philippians 4:11. Now that I speak in respect of want, For I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. Because during Jacob's trouble, it's going to be harsh. It's going to be very harsh. There's going to be some times where, you're going to be so-called lucky and you're going to find some food and water to sustain yourself for that moment. But during any type of trial and tribulation, you're supposed to be content. So let's continue on verse 12. I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, which strengthened me. Because during those times of Jacob's trouble, we have to rely on Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. We can't rely on this microchip to get rid of our so-called problems that are gonna be all over us during Jacob's trouble. Alright, so this is another article that I found. It says, are we edging closer to a microchipped future? And the answer to that is yes. So I'm just going to read a few parts of this article. See, on this paragraph it says, whichever way you look at it, there is no doubt that the implications for society are far-reaching in those instances. Therefore, it makes sense that any moves in that direction should be painstakingly slow. And you notice how the person who wrote this article, he says painstakingly slow. However, when it comes to an implant that doesn't interact directly to the body, is the consideration of risk versus reward much more straightforward? Yeah, but I want to point out, the person who wrote this article, he's obviously for the RFID microchip. As Pat Rabbi, just real quick, see it is, of course, it's a Red Hebrew Edomite. As when I read that, I had thought of this precept, it was Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And so this RFID microchip, it's really painstakingly going slow. Like this prophecy is one of those last prophecies before we get delivered and get the hell out of this wicked kingdom. And unbeknownst to the Red Hebrew Edomite, like in his spirit, he knows that it should be going faster, because he's got a short amount of time to so-called succeed in his New World Order plan. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and jump down right here. It says 20 years in the making. What's the delay? Given the wealth of benefits that technology can bring in, making people's lives easier and systems smarter, it begs the question as to why we're only beginning to see the commercialization now. Because they want to roll this out quick, but ultimately it's Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. He's the one who says when that chip is implemented, mandatory. Because I could pull out the precept in Revelations about the angels holding the destroying wind, and it says hurt not the trees near the ocean until the elect be sealed. Because right now we're still fishing for the elect. We're fishers. We're not hunters yet. But the Red Hebrew Edomite, he just can't wait for that time to happen, because that's when he's gonna be happy and mirthful and partying. All right, so continue on this article. It says, concerned over security seems to have been the main issue. Earlier devices were not encrypted as they were now. Of course, with technology, we have to be mindful that device security always has the potential to be compromised. What man can put together, he can also reverse engineer. That said, in its current state, it seems that the technology is not being used to the full benefit of society. And what benefit of society is this microchip going to do? It's only going to benefit the Red Hebrew Edomite society. Because we have a society coming, and this society is going to be destroyed. We seek a world to come. All right, so continue on this article. It says, broader fears have also played their part in retarding the rate of adoption of the technology. In 2006, Colombian President Alvaro Uribe proposed the idea that Colombian migrant workers could have such devices implanted on entry to the U.S. In discussions with 2 U.S. senators, there is potential for tracking despite the fact that devices use NFT with a very short range. And if you've seen some of the videos that I've been posting, because I keep on the news, and you can see how like the RFID microchip is getting better and better, because like this was in 2006 where this Colombian president was chipping people to become American workers. Well, they got chips that could pretty much read where you're at from a long distance. Because the materials and the technology is getting better and better. All right, so here it says, over the next few years, it's expected that the Internet of Things will grow exponentially, with forecasts of 75 billion network devices by 2025. In a world crowded with network sensors, bad actors could utilize implants to track people. Once again, it's a case that there is potential for the technology to be used for the good of society or otherwise. Systems need to be put in place to monitor the implication of the technology to ensure that society finally benefits from it. Because ultimately this isn't really going to benefit people from society, because through prophecy we know that you're not going to be able to eat or do anything without having this chip. And if you take this chip, it's in a direct violation of the law, because you're not supposed to put an insertion into your body. And then also, it says right here in Revelation 13 and 16 that that thing is the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast. Now we'll go ahead, since we're on the topic of that. All right, so this is so if you do get that mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, this is what's going to happen to you. This is Revelation 19 and 20, and the beast was taken with him the false prophet that brought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. So if you get those RFID microchips, you're going to be put into the lake of fire, and that lake of fire burning with brimstone is going to be America once those thermonuclear missiles hit. Because the red Hebrew Edomite cannot do good. As much as he says in this article that this is supposed to benefit society, that's actually false. That's very false, because the red Hebrew Edomite isn't capable of doing good. Alright, so I'm going to read these precepts. This is Proverbs 4 and 16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. Because at night they're pretty much pondering and scheming on how they can do some wickedness. They're not pondering and scheming on how they can make this chip, make it so that your life is easier. That's a like this chip making your life so-called easier is a byproduct of what they're really trying to do with this chip. It's pretty much give you a ticket to the lake of fire. This is Psalms 58 and 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And like I already showed you the picture of the person who wrote this article. He says it's for the benefit of mankind, but he's a red Hebrew Edomite. And this scripture right here says that as soon as they're born, they speak lies. And this is just a quick article just to point out, that RFID microchip is coming in all forms. It says Grand Sierra Resort and Casino installed door-markable enabled RFID electronics locks at 2,000 room destinations. It's not a big article, but it's just showing that this casino is they're implementing that RFID microchip. So here's the last article that I have. Let's go ahead and just remove these real quick. Alright, so it says skin deep microchip paved the way for transhumanism. Because another thing that the red Hebrew Edomite is trying to do with this microchip is that he's trying to outdo the Heavenly Father with spiritual powers. Because if we don't take that microchip and we endure unto the end, we're going to inherit spiritual powers. We're going to inherit the crown of righteousness. We're going to inherit a whole bunch of things. But the red Hebrew Edomite, he wants to inherit some of those blessings right here, right now. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. It says, with microchip implants, humankind has taken a step towards what future-minded experts predict will be a world filled with cyborgs, but Japan lags behind other countries in this regard. The microchip inserted under the skin are currently limited to such tasks as opening doors and paying for small items like drinks. However, Yuichiro Okamoto, a professor of philosophy at Tamagawa University, who is well versed on the ideological background of science and technology, says the implants are just the beginning of transhumanism. the theory that science can allow humans to evolve beyond their current physical and mental limitations. Yeah, because this is a heathen, and they're seeing this RFID microchip. Like I said, that whole benefit of mankind, like this chip is going to help you eat and pay for things. That's a byproduct of what this thing is really trying to do. And so also what this Ammonite sees with that chip is not only can you open doors and pay for food, but this is going to pave the way for to become some sort of super being. But like how we in truth say spiritual bodies. Like I said, if you endure unto the end, you're going to inherit these. Pretty much you're going to inherit these, because if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're going to inherit spiritual bodies. You're just going to be born through the loins of the men who stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. So I'm just going to go ahead and read these precepts. There's Proverbs 23:3. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. And this is going back to how that RFID microchip, all these like so-called benefits that you're gonna get from it. You're gonna get this chip. You're gonna be able to eat for like a few days, but then those nukes are gonna come. Those chips aren't gonna make it so that you eat forever. They're just gonna make it so that you can fill your belly and then die in the lake of fire. All right, but so these precepts are pertaining to the spiritual powers that we're gonna inherit. This is 1 Corinthians 15:40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory, so also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body, and there is a spiritual body. And so this is pretty much equating our carnal, chains of darkness, the bodies that we have right now, as corruptible. They're pretty much weak. But the spiritual ones, they're going to be, incorruptible. So one is shown to dishonor, and one is raised to glory, because those bodies are going to be glorious. All right, so this is Matthew 6:27. And this is what Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai was saying. Say, which of you? Sorry, it's Matthew 6:27. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Because once we get those spiritual powers, all we have to do is think, and we'll become bigger. Because that's one of the least things you'll be able to do with spiritual powers. And these heathens specifically, they can't fathom that. They can only fathom what the red Hebrew Edomite wants them to fathom. Is with these things go, like with this chip, we're going to become superhumans and be able to open doors and buy sodas. Alright, so that's the end of this video. Hopefully this video is edifying. Just letting the Akim know just to keep eyes on the RFID microchip. Because that's one of the final prophecies that we're waiting for. I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Har HaKodesh, and Shalom Akim.